Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equity Story. I think this trading environment is starting to get really tough actually, and just having a look here, I think you can see a little bit what's happening at the moment on the market. That big red candle there, that's when Trump was elected, and you can see the market panic, and then we had a few days of really good talk. Hey, it's going to be all right. There's going to be infrastructure and lower corporate tax rates, and we had this little Trump pump up. But look, the market just, you can tell by the price action, it just doesn't believe it. That deep down, this price action is telling me underneath there's a lot of fear about what's coming up, and I think that fear is certainly with higher interest rates, with all these trade sort of tariffs that Trump is talking about. The market doesn't believe it. There's a lot of fear, and I can see. Obviously, we are pretty negative on the Dow. We do see the Dow, the S&P 500 coming off, and obviously we can see our market is very nervous. And we're certainly, if the Dow goes down 15%, I think we'll match it. The way we're trading here, I think we're going to match it percent for 4%. And you can see today, classic example, just fear in the markets. There's a few stories. Mobile Embrace. This has always been for the last few years, a bit of a market darling, market favorite. Today it got hammered down, just absolutely ridiculous. This was hammered down over 50% at one stage. It ended up down 42%. Now it's only 6% of their earnings that have been affected, and which they still believe by the end of this year, because the earnings growth internationally is so strong, they still believe their revenue is still going to be higher by about 16%. So when a stock gets hammered down 42% because of potential 6% of their earnings being affected, I think you see the underlying current, the fear, the panic in the market, and people are really worried. And I think that's slightly bad news. Everyone just seems to press the 50% sell button, and the stocks are absolutely getting killed. I think as long as there's nothing comes from sort of no black swan events coming out of Mobile Embrace, we feel this represents obviously a buying opportunity. It's not, generally speaking, what we do in Equity Story. We like to buy things going up, buy momentum, but when we think stocks are completely oversold, maybe even now holding, you see here a little bit of a support level around this sort of level, we see it potentially as obviously a good time to get into the company. As with Isentia, again, absolutely ridiculous. This stock is now trading on they still think their earnings by the end of this year will be higher by sort of only sort of single digits, high single digits. They said they think that their earnings growth, but again, it's right back down on support, not far. I think this listed at $2. It came on around 250. It's more or less where it was when it listed. Since then, it's had earnings growth around sort of 20% for quite a few years, and it's still got earnings growth. And we just think this is a complete overreaction. I think it just shows the panic at the market now. Certainly, we like stocks. This is now again giving a dividend of 4%, roughly around 4% on a PE. FY17, we had a look at around just under 14. So again, with that sort of earnings growth, this potentially is a good buying opportunity. So we're busy at the moment having a look at this, seeing if we can look at this as a 3-year growth story at the moment. And again, I think this is just representing a very strong buying opportunity. So there is panic out there, there is fear, and I think just as I was showing you with the price action, the general price action on the ASX 200, I think people deep down are sort of pretty concerned. Having a look at some of the stocks we're trending at the moment, people often said to me, I had a phone call today and said, Dave, why are you still sort of trending a few stocks? Well, we're not God. We can only make opinions. We can look at all the technical analysis, and we can say, yeah, obviously we think there's a 75% chance this market's going to come off, but we'll hedge our bets. We'll keep a we'll keep a few shares in the market. We'll try and run a few trends. We'll be careful. We'll choose good companies, strong companies, fundamentally good companies. If it does come off, these companies will sort of companies that will slingshot back up pretty quickly, and then and if the market does go down, then it gives us the opportunity, and that's why we've been saying now for the last 2-3 months, these markets are sort of markets that and that's why we've been selling companies and selling shares, get cash in the bank, so we can take advantage of any pullback. And just having a look at the good companies, like for us, sort of Ramsey Healthcare, again, just stunning. Again, it can go. It's sort of, we brought it back here, flirting near this sort of trend line. It does that. It's done that in the past, and we think obviously over time, this is over the next 6 months, this will again retest that sort of possibly 75-80 cents level, and we'll make some good money out of it. As with BAP, again, this has come down. It's holding those sort of long-term trend lines, and there's no reason why it shouldn't go on with it here and do pretty well. Similar to ORE, which is again starting to look a lot better. It's just had this shakedown that a lot of shares have had over the last 2 or 3 months, come back, held these long-term trend lines, and starting to move again. And we've got a sort of 450 short-term target price on that. I hope it sort of can get there quickly before the markets get shaken down anymore. That's all I've got to really talk about tonight, Equity Story. And so just be careful out there. Obviously, what we pointed out tonight is that there does seem to be a real undercurrent of fear. People are very, very nervous out there, and I think what you might see if we get bad news and these markets start coming off, well, I think I can just feel it's going to be even more exaggerated, the way we sort of get this sort of what you feel at the moment, how the sentiment is in the market. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for listening to Equity Story, and have a good night. Good night.